Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the locker room. Yeah. I promise I got some sports for you today. I do. I got a little sports for you today. But I'm still trying to get over the change in this world. And I was watching CNN earlier this week and the funeral for George Floyd. And CNN did a great job. And let's take a peek at what happened during the funeral. That was Miss Nikita Fox at the funeral of George Floyd. Rest in peace, George. That brings me to my co-host today. One of my brothers from another mother. Grew up with this guy in Daytona Beach. I got the Bishop Tooley with me today. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine. Hey, George has been buried. Guess
Yes.
what? Keep the pressure on.
That's right.
Let's keep the
That's
pressure
right.
on. We got to
That's
keep
right.
the pressure on, bro.
That's right. We don't let it go.
We don't let it go.
Until everybody is free, nobody's free.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a lot of opposition today. And it's amazing to me that here 20 years after all the stuff that has been going on, you know, we grew up in the time when segregation was going out and integration was coming in.
Right.
We put up with some things that a lot of folks don't even know about. But I'm so glad that we've got young people today who are not sitting down and being silent.
No, they're not.
And one of the things we've got to remember to everybody, if you're quiet with this going on, you're consenting.
Complicit.
Yes, sir. You see, silence is consent. And that's what happened even during the 60s when Dr. King was marching.
Okay.
A lot of the evangelical white ministers have come back and apologized because they thought it was just a political thing when it was actually a spiritual thing.
Come on now.
And those are the things that we're dealing with today. We've got a lot of things going on even in this our fair city.
Uh-oh. Now you finna make me say something.
County. We've got to deal with some things that just don't even make sense for those type of attitudes to be around anymore.
You know, I moved away from Daytona in 1986, like I did 33 years in the school system in Miami, and I moved back. And I come back, I see the same demonic stuff running through this county and I saw when I was a kid. It just got a beard on it now and got a little white hair on his face. But there's a lot of things going on in this county. You know, I saw a Facebook post recently of you guys over at the county meeting.
Yes.
And you guys were upset about some things. What happened over there?
Well, one of the things that happened is that we went over because there were some words said by one of the county council people who was blatantly saying things that were going to discourage a lot of people. And it was coming against our young people as if they were terrorists. They were over there on Memorial Day. Now, granted, there was a huge crowd, but they weren't hurting anybody. The police handled it very well. The young people were very receptive to whatever the police would tell them. But we had one county council person who said she was getting all kind of phone calls of people calling saying they were terrorized because they were locked in their houses. And to me, that was a slap in the face. You weren't in the house because of these young people. You were in the house because of the COVID virus.
Okay.
You already locked in your house. Now you're being upset because a group of black young people having fun on the beach, not causing any disturbance, but you wanted something to be done to run them out of your area. To me, a person like that does not need to be reelected.
Quickly, I got a caller. Let's see what my caller wants to say. Hello, you're welcome to the locker room.
Hi, I'm calling now because God revealed something to me about this whole situation. You know, gangs, we expect gangs to act like gangs. We don't pay them. Gangsters act like gangsters. We don't pay them. But police have gotten to the point where you don't know who they are because they acting more like gangs and gangsters instead of, because it's like they're against us. But we pay them to be police. We pay them to be police. And furthermore, each officer made a sworn oath to protect and serve. And there was nothing in that said, I'll serve only the white, I'll serve only the black,
right.
I'll serve it was all protect and serve. So the problem is right now, I love the way my young brothers and sisters are marching
Absolutely.
and everything. But the issue is until the police see that when one officer is riding with another officer, each one of them are getting paid to be the law, not buddies and partners.
Okay.
Buddies and partners come second. The law comes first because that's what we're paying them for, to be the law. So when one breaks the law, the other one is supposed to put past the buddy and stop him from breaking the law.
I agree.
And that's what the major problem has been, because they're all just like that girl got shot 8 times. Here it is.
In Louisville.
They're all going on. It's just like with George, they sat on him and they should have pulled it off because he was for law. And that's what I'm saying. And this is.
Hello. Well, we thank you for your call. We lost in there. You know, he had a valid point that I think the police is almost military style now, and instead of being the guy who used to walk around and smile and wave his hand, the way that we're being policed now in these United States it's been very, very difficult for us because we already had one strike against us.
Yeah, that's very true. One of the things that's happening is we've got people who have transitioned. Many police forces now, the midnight riders, if you will, the Ku Klux Klan,
Okay.
they don't wear their hoods anymore. Now they wear a blue cap and a badge. And some of them wear robes and sit on the bench.
Okay.
So one of the things that I remember from way back in the 80s, hearing a young man by the name of Stokely Carmichael.
Come on now.
And he said, justice is just us. There are 2 different types of justices in the United States. One for rich people and one for poor people. One for black people and one for white people. Anytime a black person who has done the exact same thing as a white person comes before the judge, that black child is going to get 3 to 5 times a longer sentence than the white kid is going to get. In fact, that white kid may not get anything but a ticket or maybe probation. But that black child is going to end up going to jail. That racism has to be broken. That's
called systematic racism, right?
That's right. And the social stratification is not making it any better.
No, it's not.
We've got to pull together as people. They got upset with Dr. King when he began to have a poor people's march. As long as it was just black and white, they didn't care. But when he started dealing with economics, that's when things got bad. Now, in our county, when we've got people who are more concerned about keeping others down than letting everybody have a chance to rise, we've got a problem.
Absolutely.
So now one of the things that our young people need to realize is that it wasn't just the march that changed things, but they also began to strategize and take different things. Go right ahead. We got a caller.
You know, I got some of my friends who played some NFL football, and you heard what Goodell said, you know, about what the NFL is going to do. I got a call on the line. Caller, welcome to the locker room.
This is John Bostic.
Hey, John Bostic, how you doing?
I'm doing good, teammate.
I got Mr. Jonathan Bostic. Jonathan is a Hall of Fame football player from Bethune-Cookman University. Played a little bit with the Detroit Lions. Matter of fact, his son is in the league, one of the strongest linebackers in the league. JB, what's your take on, you know, you played in the NFL almost 10, 15, 20 years ago. What's the difference in the take now that you see that they're trying to get into with the Black Lives Matter move? The difference between when you played and now?
Well, the difference is there's a greater percentage of black players in the league. That's changed. We didn't have the issue of police brutality being brought forth. It's just being recorded. It's being seen. It's being shown to the world. It still went on, but we just didn't see it. So that's something that we didn't have to deal with as far as, you know, society seeing it, but just we knew it was there. We saw it was there. We had to be prepared for it. So we just didn't address that because it's a social media age where someone can see it, put it on, and it can go viral and go across the world in a few minutes. So we just didn't have to deal with that, but it was still there.
You know, you played in Detroit. You played for the Ford family. Was it the Ford family, the owners?
Yes.
How did they treat their players, in your words?
The first time I ever met Mr. Ford was, you know, I saw this guy. He was probably about maybe 5'6", 5'7", something like that. Had on a pair of shoes that, you know, looked like they had come from JCPenney. His suit, you know, really didn't look like it matched. So I was like, who is this guy walking in the locker room? Because I had never met him. And it turns out my teammate said, that's the man who signed your check.
Wow.
He was unassuming. He came around and he spoke to people. He spoke to the quarterbacks and the coaches and things like that. He said, good afternoon, how you doing to everyone else? But that's the extent that I have as far as the interaction with him. So how were we treated? I mean, you played football, you got paid, and you did whatever you wanted to do after that. But I wasn't in any way treated badly by them. I just didn't know them. I didn't meet them, so I can't give you anything other than I didn't have a bad experience with them.
Well, see, right now we're getting to see the kind of owners that the NFL has, because when Kaepernick took the knee, a lot of the owners were against it, and you saw different people stand up and stand out. Now, what year did you play in the league? What was your first season?
85.
Okay, see, in 2009, that's when the Department of Treasury wanted to, Department of Defense wanted the NFL, they paid the NFL to do the national anthem, bring the big flag out, and I think you guys didn't even come out of the locker room when the national anthem was played in your day, right?
Well, we did come out of the locker room. That was in the 70s, where they didn't come out of the locker room.
Okay.
But you know, I've always sung the national anthem, and then I understand, because most people don't actually know, and I did not learn this until maybe 10 years ago, that there's another part to the national anthem that most people don't sing and they don't know. So you can understand why someone would say, hey, look, this was a person who wrote the Star Spangled Banner was a straight out racist. And that last stanza that we don't sing talked about a slave, that we can kill you because you're fighting for your freedom. And I can understand that. And when you have someone who makes it a point of rally to say, you know what, you're disrespecting the flag. I don't know about you, but did you get down on one knee when you proposed to your wife?
Right.
That is a sign of respect. Now, I could see if we were, stepping on it or doing something defacing or something like that, but you're taking a knee. That's respectful.
The president, his comments about that, it went viral, and he said we'll call them SOBs, get those SOBs out of there because they're disrespecting the flag. But in my opinion is, every time he comes on television and tells a lie, every time he does something that's not right, and he's a sworn person, he's disrespecting the flag.
Yes.
Well, the truth of the matter is, I'm not a fan, but things won't change until the NFL addresses that issue. Mm-hmm. And the issue is it disrespectful? No. Is it about equality?
Nope.
It should be, but it's not. Mm-hmm. But the thing that most people don't understand is the Washington Redskins hired a female as a coach. San Francisco hired a female as a coach. Mm-hmm. They may be well qualified, but think of all the people who spent years and years who toiled with coffee to go get coffee, to meet this person, to go get this training, and never get an opportunity. But the issue with the NFL, it all comes down to economics. Mm-hmm. The owners are making money. As long as they're making money, they're not going to change. A lot of people don't realize that the NFL franchises do not pay taxes on that income.
Wow.
They are so afraid of our president changing the tax law, which means that they would lose a whole lot of revenue based on the fact that they had to pay taxes on that. That's why they contribute to his campaign. This is why they said no one's going to kneel. But as long as the owners are quiet about this issue, such as Jerry Jones, and I know you're a Cowboy.
Yeah, I'm a Cowboy, but I'm not with Jerry.
I'm not with Jerry.
And Tully a Cowboy too. I forgot he's a Cowboy.
I'm still with Tom Landry.
Yes, sir. No, I'm still
okay.
I'm still with Tex Stram. He was a racist too.
Well, until he has them afraid that if they say something or do something or say something about him or criticize him in any way, that he's going to make them start paying taxes. So if you imagine if he made, I don't know how much owners are making, but say if they bring in $1 billion a year just in their team, it may be more, maybe less, I don't know, and they had to pay taxes on that. That's a lot of money. And one thing that I've learned in my life is people who search and dream about having more and more and more and more and more are never content with what they have.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
And so these owners are billionaires, and they want more money. I mean, they want more money when it should be about one, player safety. It should be about making sure that these players, when they're playing, after they're done, that there's some type of health that they can go to, mental health, physical health. There should be something that in place to prepare these guys to, get out in the real world, because most of them have gone to college and played at a big institution, and that big institution used them for their talent. Now, they go and they may get a degree, but is that degree a workable degree where you can go and make a decent living? I've seen so many ball players go and play at a big institution. They play 4 years, 5 years, give up their body, their mind, their soul, and then they get a degree, and that degree is something that qualifies them to go get a job as a what we would call a behavioral specialist. And that's someone who sits in the class with someone who is, they can't control themselves in class. Or they go break up fights in school. That's not what going to college is about. It's about, one, developing your character, improving yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, and all those things. But when they go to a college and don't get that degree that, you can have a family, provide for your family, and they wonder why so many guys get in trouble after the playing days are over. It's because they don't have that income. They weren't prepared to go to college and leave college. They weren't prepared. And that's the one problem you'll have.
JB, I got somebody who help name BCU DBU. He's on the line, Mr. Roger Jackson. Roger the Dodger, are you there?
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody?
Good morning. Say hello to your fat brother over there.
What's up there, the killer?
Hey, my room doom. It's my teacher. I would say that. But you know what? The first day of practice, and all them heavy things. Why you put me against Stacey Charles on that first day?
Stacey Silk Charles.
Look at Charles. Look at Charles.
Hey, Raj.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. I need your
Good.
take on something. You know, we're talking about the statement Goodell made that the NFL now is going to listen to the players and they understand what Kaepernick was trying to say. But here's my thing: if you're gonna listen and be more active when it comes to racism in America, but then you still have 3-4 owners who are racist. So how does the NFL do that?
You know, one of the things with that there is they knew what they was doing back when Cap first took that knee, and they wanted to make it about the flag, and it wasn't about the flag. The man kept stating that it's not about the flag, it's about social justice, and they just ignored it. But now it's come to light, and it's hitting them in the face that, hey, this is what the man was talking about all along, and the social justice with all those guys that put that program together. That's all they've been talking about, you know. And they made that a point each time they come up in front of a microphone. That's what they talk about. It's not about the flag. And if people want to keep diverting it toward the flag, they're not listening, and they don't want to listen.
You got guys like Vic Frangini saying he hasn't seen any racism in the league. And he's with Detroit Lions, right? JB.
I was like, he needs to get somebody in that office to read over what he's about to say. And a lot of times, this is what our counterpart have to do. They need to get somebody to read over what they're getting ready to say, because some of them have no clue as to what is going on in the world. And you know what? Some guys are like that, you know, in the NFL, you know, being that, you know, I've been in that front office on the other side, and some people get locked into their job so much, you know, like that guy in Denver, that, you know, he's been a coordinator all his, you know, a defensive guy all his life.
Right.
And he's so in tune to just trying to win football X's and O's that he's out of tune what's going on in society. He come to work from 6, leave at probably 9 at night, go home, his kids are asleep, the wife is about to sleep, and then he gets in the bed and gets back up, and he's back at the office at 6 in the morning. You know, so some guys are just out of tune with what's going on in the world, and they just consumed with football, and that happens, you know. But you saw he corrected that real quickly. You know,
okay. And that's where I want to go next, because see, Thule was asking me about Drew Brees. Drew Brees. What's the question about Drew Brees' statement of Thule?
Well, my question is, where Drew Brees plays, how could he even fix his mouth to make a statement like he did? Because either he's not in touch with reality, or he's just basically closing his eyes and being blind to everything. You can look at how the referees call games. Here you've got, if somebody did to Drew Brees what they were doing to Cam Newton, they'd have kicked him out of the game. But they hit Cam Newton and nobody even throws a flag. If they even breathe on Brady, they get penalized. That's just not right.
Both of you guys were defensive backs, so how would you regulate that comment?
Well, you know, from my standpoint, you know, he has a point, you know, in what he's saying. And, you know, society is like that, too. You know, some things that they get away with, ain't no way we can get away with.
You're right.
You know, and it's embedded in them that this is not supposed to happen to them, but it's supposed to happen to us. Somehow we're much tougher. We can take it more so than they can, you know. You know, in officiating, you know, things happen so quick, but their mind is made up at the beginning of the game. Nobody's
Right.
going to touch Drew. Nobody's going to touch Tom. With Cam's supposed to be a runner, but he still is a quarterback. At
Right.
the end of the day, he's still a quarterback. There ain't no black quarterback, no white quarterback, but to them, he's a black quarterback, so he can take all of this. So, it's the makeup of their thinking, and society thinks the same way.
JB, your son plays linebacker. Who's he with now? He's with the Redskins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember preseason, his rookie year, he made a hit. I mean, the first preseason game, he depleted a guy, the helmet came off. But we saw some rule changes in the NFL. And basically, they were almost like University of Miami rules because of how guys were playing the game, protecting more of the white players.
Mm-hmm.
True, they're going to protect him because, later in life, you're going to have some of those things pop up, those injuries that you're doing. So they want to make the league safer. I understand that. But when you protect a wide receiver, they're going across the middle. He gets a 60-yard touchdown on you, get to the end zone, dance, and slam the ball down, and do all this
stuff. That was me.
And then when you get an opportunity to hit him, do I hit him like I should, like I want to, or do I consider they're going to find me if I hit him the right way? Well, I mean, so you just don't hit it. You let him catch the ball and so forth. So I don't really like that aspect of it, but it is what it is. It's to get butts in the seats, and that's what they want. And the television revenue, somebody throwing for 6,000 yards a season and things like that. Yeah, I understand that. But from a true perspective, from a defensive perspective, I just don't particularly like the passing game like it is. So, but they protect the quarterback. That's what they want to do. But Cam, I don't know if you've ever been by Cam. Cam's a big boy.
Cam 6'6".
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw him. I'm not the biggest defensive back in the world, but man, Cam walked by me like, darn, that's a big old joker. If he coming at me, I gotta come with it.
If you put Cam on the side of Drew Brees, Drew looks like a little shooter.
See, that leads to my next question. Now, Raj, now you know how we played back in the day. See, hey, I was looking at some old footage of you the other day, and Boston too. You guys had those big shoulder pads on. Let me tell you something. Is somebody coming at Drew Brees this year? Is it a thug out there who's gonna take a shot at him?
Absolutely.
No, I don't think it.
One say yeah, one say no. Somebody coming at him.
Guy's gonna risk trying to hurt a guy, because of what he said. Now, are they gonna put a little bit more into it when they do get to it? I think so, but they're not gonna go out there.
That's what I'm talking about.
But when they get theirs, they gonna lay the leather on it now.
Yeah, because
they gonna hurt him, Roger. But I say they're going to put a little extra on if they get an opportunity.
See, they wouldn't let a Jack Tatum play today. They kicked Jack Tatum out of the league because he was making hits. Yeah, they called him the assassin. But that was football. That's what we learned. One of the things, for the second that I was out there on the field at Seabreeze, they told us anything come across that middle is a free safety, you hit it. Now they tell you, no, you got to lay the man down. That's not football. So we've got some things going on now that are ridiculous.
But one of the things that I know in the league and in college, people pay to see touchdowns. They don't want to see 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And when I came in the league, that was the first year they started the 5-yard chuck rule. Wasn't no 110 reception receivers. They were about 50. You was all pro. 50 reception. You was all pro. And then I think it went up. My first year went up to like 70, then to 80, then but quarterbacks are what the fans want to see. They want to see them make these throws, score touchdowns, but when the bottom line, defense wins championships. And then we talk about We talk about when we came up. We ain't playing no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's they now, and that's what they're teaching. They're teaching from Pee Wee League all the way up. That's how they teach it now. So, our culture is gone, and we can live on the past. But it is what it is today.
And you lead me to my next question. Thank you, Roger. You must be reading my mind. Listen,
Wildcat.
we had 7 kids from HBCUs that had an opportunity to go into NFL camps this year. 7 kids, and there's a lot of talk about maybe we should start sending our kids to HBCUs. I mean, I'm talking about the 5 and the 4, 4-star kids. If they started deterring away from Division I schools and coming to the HBCUs, how would that change? We just saw Florida A&M go to the SWAC. I'm gonna tell you what's getting ready to happen. It's getting ready to be a super conference going to get built. The HBCU is going to have their own NCAA, and they're going to have their own national championship and their own bowl game. How do you see the table changing? More kids coming to HBCUs? Because JB, your son went to Florida, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If he'd have played at Cookman, would he have had the same shot if he'd had out of Florida?
What? I'm a firm believer. If you got talent, the NFL gonna find you.
That's right.
They'll find you. So
yeah, it means
when it
go ahead.
When it comes to black colleges, they can't compete. It's like trying to impress a girl. The first time you try to impress a girl, you're gonna dress nice. You're gonna take her to a nice dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna put your best foot forward. And you're gonna tell them all of this stuff. You're gonna take them to a nice restaurant.
Gator getters.
These facilities. If you've seen some of these facilities that they actually put the money they put into these facilities to, like, I can this big old place. This is where you practice. This is where you play. This is your locker room. This is your training table. Kids have never seen that. Some kids who are from low economic status and so forth, their eyes are open big. They got at Florida, they got call them Gator Getters, and Auburn, I forgot what they call them, but a young man tours a campus, and all he sees is, pretty girls here, they feed me here, they got all these facilities, they got all this stuff like that. But they don't realize is this is just a show. I mean, what are you going to get? They're using you to fund other athletic programs that are such as really girls lacrosse. They don't have any revenue generating ability. So some of that money is probably used for the schools to build new buildings, for this program, that program. And these kids can't even sell a jersey, can't sell a shoe. They don't have money. They don't have anything. So they get used. And when they get a degree, that degree is not worth the paper it's worth on, because it's not an employable degree. It's something, you got a degree in this, well, what you going to do? Well, I end up being a bus driver, which is nothing wrong with a bus driver, but I spent 4 or 5 years in college and you end up being a bus driver. You went to college to get an education. The kids are being used.
Raj.
And I had that conversation with him.
See,
Raj, a lot of these black colleges can't compete.
You're right. See, Raj, you broadcast for Mercer University. That's an FCS school, right? But
yes,
their program, they're on the same level as Bethune-Cookman, but their programs and their facilities are a lot different. But would you send your kid to HBCU today?
Yes, I would. Check this out now, if the HBC recruited my kid. One of the things that HBCUs,
Yep.
they don't recruit the 5-star kids or the 4-star kids. They wait to see who's going to be signed and then come in later. When I was at Howard University, we recruited the 4 and 5-star kids. That's why Howard University's program accelerated with Steve Wilson and we were there. We recruited Florida heavily, and we got the 4 and 5-star players there. We got those quarterbacks that big schools wanted because we recruited them. 9 times out of 10, predominantly a black kid that's coming out of high school, one of his parents or grandparents or aunts, uncle, they went to HBCU. They know about it, but they didn't recruit them. So how am I going to go somewhere they don't recruit them?
Well, you're right.
We got to start recruiting those kids. And then when a kid gets to a D1 school, and he don't like it. But then he remembered that Bethune-Cookman recruited him.
Mm-hmm.
He transferred to Bethune-Cookman.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing happened when we was at Howard University. Kids that went to Maryland, went to Penn State, they transferred to Howard after they got there, and the coach, what they promised them, didn't happen. Now, on the facility side, what John is talking about, you know, you got to upgrade your facility. You can't stay back in the 60s and the 70s with the same stuff and expect these kids to come from being recruited by a Division I school, then come there and you still playing on a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't going to happen. Because kids want things too. They see TV, they want to be in the same environment, you know. And I give a hand to Bethune. We've always been able to manage what we have with so little, but make it look so grand.
That's right.
Absolutely. But let me just make sure, when it comes to recruiting, now my four-star kids, I send out a highlight tape, email, everything to every black college in the United States that play football. Only one college responded back. Now, even Bethune responded back. Terry Newton, you know, we played together, but he says, okay, I'll come down. Well, if you come down, you being the 19th school that comes and visit a kid, you behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Now, this kid grew up on Cookman's campus, running around as a little kid, 3 years old, running around, throwing football.
Yep.
But Hampton was the only school that responded.
What?
But they responded 1 year after he had already started Florida.
Come on.
Yeah,
I'm not lying.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. We put ourselves at a second class when it comes to recruiting against Division I school. All we have to do is recruit on our history.
Right.
That's what we have to put out.
Right.
That we're going to make sure that you graduate, young man. You know, and when our kid used to come down through Florida, and I can remember going into Palaca in Alabama and Florida. Everybody was at Terrell Hill. He's the mayor of Palaca now.
That's right.
Terrell's the quarterback, and there all these coaches. Terrell's mama said, she said, hold on. She told his uncle, said, go out there and get that young man out there that's waiting. They came and got me. I made her a promise that he wants to be a lawyer. Howard University is a school for him to come to. She told her brother, Terrell's uncle, said, go out there and tell that coach from Alabama and Florida, they go on about their business. He's going to Howard.
And we got to see more. We got to see more of that.
We do.
True story.
If
True
we
story.
upgrade our
Terrell Hill,
facility,
you know, he's mayor of Palaca, Florida now. Second time, 2-time winner. You know, this is the second term. And he tell that story all the time. When I came to his house, going against the D1 coaches, I told his mother, if he want to graduate and if he want to be a lawyer, Howard University, because we got the best law school in the country, you know. And that was it. I sold on that, you know. And Terrell, he came there, and it's been all roses for him.
Yeah, we're going to see how many kids behind the way the shift of the world has been the last couple of months, and with this Black Lives Matter and with the uproar with the kids out in the streets marching, we're going to see how many parents, we're going to see how many kids and how many coaches start to connect. Because, see, majority of your best kids go to black high schools.
That's right.
Especially Miami Northwestern, Miami Central, those schools, or even Central High School up there in Macon, Georgia, where you are. A lot of kids go to black high school, but then they'll matriculate off because they want to play. Hey, why would you go sit on the bench for 3 years at University of Miami when you could come to HBCU and get the same thing you got when you were at your high school? See, we have to now kind of push our kids, kind of guide our kids, coaches too, to know that we can go at some of these blue chip kids.
Yeah. But our coaches got to change their mentality. You know, they got to think that they got just good a chance of recruiting that kid as the PWI schools. You know.
Hey, you know what? I thank both of you guys, man. Y'all my boys. I played against y'all in practice, but I used to hang out with the defensive back. I was the only receiver that hung out with the DBs. I thank you guys for calling. JB, I'm going to be talking more with you. We're going to do another segment once the NFL starts. I'm going to have you guys back on, and I appreciate you guys' input on the way the world is now. Things have changed. Thank you, JB. Thank you, Roger.
Hey,
You listen
let
to
me
the
say-
Lot
Let
Lock.
me say one
Hold
let me say
on.
one thing.
What?
Let me say, you know what? Roger was my roommate my freshman year in high school. That man taught me how to play physically and mentally.
Mhm.
So, you know, DBU, that
DBU.
was where Bethune really got that DBU
You're right.
university.
You're right. Because Rasheen way behind you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You listen to the Locker Room. We're going to go to break. Thank you guys for calling. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Locker Room. We had Mitch show now. Bishop Tooley, how do you think about the first half of the show? What do you?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. They brought out some great points.
I'm just sitting back chilling with some of my old NFL alumni. Matter of fact, I got one on the line right now. Former Florida Gator wide receiver, Florida Pittsburgh Steeler, and he played for the Cowboys.
Well, that makes up for the
That
others.
makes up for the other stuff. Ernie Mills, are you there?
I'm good. Darren, how you doing?
Hey,
man?
man,
Yeah,
you
look good.
doing, boy? How about them Cowboys? Hey, you know, Ernie was here last weekend, played a little golf at the Bruce McNorton Foundation golf tournament, and I had a couple, little time to sit down and talk with Ernie.
Okay.
Ernie, we were talking earlier with John Bostic and Roger Jackson, and we were talking about the way things have changed in the NFL since you played. You know, you played for the Rooney family, and that's a great organization to play for, yeah?
Yes, yes. Well, Mr. Rooney, Dan Rooney was running the team when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I came in 91. That was after Art had passed away. So, but yeah, the Rooney family, all the way around, great people. The best example was Dan Rooney. I mean, he didn't live far from the stadium. You got a chance to see the humbleness about him in a position of power of owning an NFL team, and you would never know it. You would walk by him and you would never know he owned the NFL team. He wasn't glitzy or glamorous about it. Regular guy, man. I know mostly everybody, if not everybody who played for him, loved him.
Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, you played for Jerry.
Yeah.
So, don't tell it. Don't tell it. Okay, go ahead.
I finished my career with Dallas. My last 2 years. Ironically, I grew up as a kid. I was a Cowboy fan.
All right. About them boys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to Pittsburgh, I was a fan when they were moving to Pittsburgh, so I knew a lot about the Steelers just because I was rooting for Dallas, and my brother was a huge Steelers fan, so we're a year apart, so you know how that rivalry went.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was just great watching it, and for Jerry, I mean, I respect Jerry. I like Jerry. I mean, so I didn't have a problem when I was there playing because that's just the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
If someone let me know how they are in the beginning and what they expect in the beginning, I can deal with it because it's not something that's happening behind closed doors. Something shady going on. So he was not that type of person.
Okay. But see, here's one of the questions that we asked the earlier crew. We were talking about the statement that Goodell made about the NFL. You know, he came out in his basement and he made the comments but how do you feel about that? Even knowing that there are still racist owners in the league, but they want to come to the table now. So how do you see that, what that is for the NFL guys now?
I think it would be a good thing. I mean, everything going on right now could be a good
Everything
thing
is.
if it continues. That's the key to everything. Is if it's going to continue.
Is that just lip service?
Because these things have come to light for years. I mean, people have seen it for years. But watching protests, you see more white people protesting, and out there, that's been the biggest difference. Is the number of white people that's been out there that seem to be understanding. And if Goodell can understand and listen and acknowledge his mistakes, that's a step in the right direction. Now from this point forward, it's about proving it, and continue to put the interest of the players first. And I think that's what has been lacking, from the guys that played before me and to the guys now. I don't think it's always been a players first league.
Got a question for you. How do you see the chances of a black owner in the NFL?
Well, I think we got. I think okay, Venus and Serena are the
No,
only
I mean
ones.
majority owner.
Okay, go ahead, Ernie. I'm gonna let you handle that one.
Oh, you said majority owner in the NFL, a black majority owner.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's going to have to stem from that would want to expand the NFL. Well, number one, and then it would have to be something that drastically happened, like what happened with the Panthers. I thought the Panthers had a great opportunity to get a black-owned group. I thought that was, to me, the first chance, based off of everything that went on. You would think that would be the next step. I think they missed an opportunity there. As far as Jacksonville and Shah Khan, I mean, that could have been a situation, but I think Jacksonville is a hard place to sell. I mean, with the fan turnout.
But wouldn't the owners have to vote on the new owner? Would they have to vote on a black owner? That's not going to happen.
Yeah, which was obvious with the Panther situation. So I get the point. I understand. But like anything, you never know. I'm optimistic for the most part to a fault, but you never really know. You never really know what's going to happen in situations like that.
Okay, the second question.
But I know it's going to be hard to get. In the current situation, nobody's really giving up their team, and those things are passed down through the family. So it's just going to be hard to get in anyway.
Oh yeah. It's a good old boy system.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the second question that I had the guys on earlier, we were talking about parents of kids who are 5 and 4 star thinking about sending your kids to a HBCU. See, a lot of people realize you played at Florida, you played in NFL, but you also coached at a HBCU. You coached at FAMU, right?
That's right.
Yes, I coached my last stop. I coached at FAMU in 2013-14 with Earl Holmes, who went from right there in Tallahassee, FAMU High, and drafted out of FAMU. Great NFL career. So that's homegrown. So it's always been. I've always known that you can make it to the league from anywhere, and definitely from HBCU. And if you look in the early days, especially the 60s and 70s, most of the guys came from HBCU. Yeah, so it's not like it can't happen again. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard to tell a kid from nothing and they go walk into that facility and
tell us about them Gator Getters. Them Gator Getters, boy.
Yeah, you walk into something that. Look, I'm a small town boy, so I come from a small town. I had one stoplight when I grew up, and when I got offered Florida, so it was hard for me to say I wanted to go to Bethune when I walk into that facility and walk in that stadium, and you go to a game on Saturday and see how many people in that stadium. I mean, it's it's a rush that's different. So. Yeah, I get what everybody's saying, and I would be all for it because I coached at 2 HBCUs. I coached at John C. Smith at Charlotte, North Carolina.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that. And you coached at JU too, right? And you coached at JU, right?
And I JU, yeah. So all of my coaching career was at smaller schools and trying to make a difference, and that was the interest to me as far as trying to, as well as trying to coach at a major school. I really want to coach at small schools. So that's what I ended up doing. My coaching career was always at small schools, always at an underdog school. So, but yeah, I just think that's what you're gonna have to deal with. So when you're trying to sell the parents on it, yeah, you still got to sell the kid, and that's what like I said, though, I'm optimistic. So I know when I was at FAMU and the kid was struggling, and even Boston College or anything like that, and we got phone calls about him, we sure tried to get him in there. So, and they was 4 and 5 stars coming out of high school. Yeah, so I think if you can get in the door and kind of get a way to either have a conversation with that kid, and because all kids are different, you never really know what's their motivating factor of going to a particular school. You don't know back to the time that they decide to go. So, but I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong, I love to see it. I will tell you this: there were times when I was at Florida, and I was looking at we always look at, as a player, we always look at the stats. So once I moved to wide receiver, we always look at the stats. And I'm looking at the family receivers with high numbers of receiving the ball, and I'm playing in the SEC, which is going to be hard to get numbers, and I'm playing with Emmitt Smith, which diminished it even more.
They hand the ball to Emmitt every play.
That's right.
Yes, get the carry. So yeah, you look at the stats, and your numbers are nowhere near there, and then you look at your rival, Florida State and Miami, and their receivers at Florida State known as the Fab Four, and we got 3 guys running under 4.3, and we can't beat Fab nothing. So yeah, I will often wonder, man, I go to HBCU and dominate. Mm-hmm. And if you look at Jerry Rice, he went to HBCU and he dominated, and it didn't stop him from dominating in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. I got a guy on the line. He played running back BCU. Mm-hmm. His grandfather was the president of BCU. Johnny Vickers, are you there?
I'm here, sir.
What's up, JV?
Nothing much. How you doing today?
I got Ernie Mills from the Steelers. He's on the line, and we're discussing our kids going to HBCUs. I know you all for that, right?
Oh man, 120%.
So what's your take on it? I know you came out of you're from Gainesville, right?
No, actually, Tallahassee.
You from Tallahassee, right? You from Tallahassee, and you were around the Florida A&Ms and the Florida States, but for some reason you came to HBCU. I guess because your family was here, right?
Well, my mother, of course, is a Bethune-Cookman alumni. She earned her undergraduate from Bethune-Cookman. However, she earned her master's from Florida A&M, and I was in Tallahassee with her. Prior to that, I was here in Daytona. And so she says that she calls herself at times a Catler. So, because she has degrees from both schools. And so, that's really, of course, amazing on her part. And so, but HBCU has always been in my blood. From day one, I've always been a Bethune-Cookman. In college, Bethune-Cookman College Wildcat. So, so being and going to an HBCU there's no experience like it. None. You cannot go to any other school anywhere else. And even though they're rivals, showing love to FAMU, the Morgan States, the Grambling, the Southerns, the Wileys, the Russ colleges out there, you cannot get an experience like you do from a historically black college and university.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there because I want to ask you and Ernie this question. I only got like 3 minutes left. I want you guys to give me your view on this. You see, Florida A&M has just moved over to the SWAC. The MEAC is being depleted. A&T is leaving too. They went to the Big South. Do you see a super conference on the horizon? A HBCU super conference, Division I, Division II, their own playoffs. Do you guys see that? Ernie, I'm gonna give you the first take at that.
Oh wow.
That's a crazy question, isn't it?
You mean as far as the flag goes?
As far as the HBCUs pulling out of the NCAA and doing their own thing. So put together a super conference.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the way they've been steering. So I can see that. I would like to see them compete for, of course, national championships. But I get it. You know, I mean, I get the gist of it. So, yeah, I can see it happening.
Well, I say that because when you look at the landscape now of HBCUs, most of the best talent now is in the SWAC.
Yeah.
I know. I think Bethune, South Carolina State, Norfolk are left. They all have great programs. But Johnny, you used to work in sports information. What would be your view?
Mm-hmm. Truth be told, it should have happened a long time ago.
Right.
There should have been an HBCU super conference many years ago that was comprised of some of the top historically black college football programs and basketball programs throughout the southeast and the northeast. So you could literally split this like mega conference like how they do the Pac-12, Big Ten, Big 12, and everything. So it should have happened a long time ago. From my belief, comprised of Bethune-Cookman, FAMU, Howard, South Carolina State, Grambling, Southern, Alcorn, Prairie View, and then a couple of other schools, but Texas Southern. So this should have been something that was that was done. Something that was like the Legacy Conference or the Heritage Conference, something of that nature. And I think that would have added a lot more weight to the black college structure, and would have been more appealing on a bigger scale.
We're gonna hold that thought right there, guys. I thank both of you guys for my call. I'm out of time, man, but I'm definitely not out of sports. I'm gonna get you guys back, but I'm over time today, guys. We'll see you next week on the Locker Room.
We're out of time, but we're definitely not out of sports. Join me next Friday here on Joy 106.3. If you want to contact the Locker Room, you can email me at thelockerroom@gmail.com. See you next week.